Hey guys, hoping all is well with everyone. So in this video we're going to be continuing our read-along of the Secret Zoo Raids and Rescues, and today we'll be continuing with chapter 42. As always, please feel free to follow along, and I hope you enjoy the read today. Chapter 42, Ella versus DeGraff. As Ella moved in on the shadowist, she saw glass fragments embedded in his cheeks and neck, black blood oozing from the wounds. Tameron's tail pulled on her spine as it dragged across the floor. She swung her body just as she had in the crab aquarium, and the tail came off the ground and flew through the air, its pointed tip dragging along the far wall, shattering aquariums and batting chunks of stone all around. As it reached DeGraff, he disappeared into the shadows just long enough for it to pass, and then reappeared in the same spot, a mirthless smile spreading on his face. Ella reversed the swing of her hips, and the tail whipped in the opposite direction. DeGraff vanished into the shadows a second time, and the tail crashed into the wall, the spikes on its tip becoming ensnarled in the framework of a broken aquarium. Ella yanked once, twice, and then the wall burst open, raining pieces of stone and glass into the corridor. Her tail bounced off the ground. DeGraff gave a grunt that might have been a laugh, and said, "Child, do you honestly believe you can defeat me?" He plucked a shard of glass from his face and flicked it into the air. "Try again?" Ella flung the tail high over her head. The powerful appendage dragged along the ceiling and came down toward DeGraff, who disappeared into the shadows again. The tail smashed into the floor, pieces of stone exploding in a cloud of dust. A voice came from behind her. "Over here, girl." Ella spun as hard as she could. The tail whipped around, its tip passing through the open wall of the crab aquarium, and whooshed through the air, missing DeGraff as he dissolved into the shadows again. Laughter came from behind her, and Ella turned, this time without attacking. DeGraff stood several feet away from her, his body cloaked in a shadow. "Now, my turn," he said. Before she could think to respond, DeGraff disappeared, and then Ella felt two tugs on the cord of her shoulder straps. He was behind her. Pain surged through her spine, and then Tameron's tail was coiled inside its pack again. She was jolted around as DeGraff stripped the pack off her shoulders. It flew out over her head, struck the ground, and slid to the stop 20 feet away. Then Ella's head rocked as DeGraff threw her to the cold floor. She turned onto her back and stared up at the shadowist, whom now loomed above her. DeGraff said, "It's time to—" Something struck his face. He reached up, pulling away a wet, jelly-like substance, and then let loose a deep, visceral scream. It's partly in anger, partly in pain. Ella looked behind her and understood what had happened. Noah. On his knees, he was flicking his wrist, trying to get something off his hand. The substance? Jellyfish. DeGraff rubbed at his face and staggered to one side of the corridor. Ella jumped to her feet and ran over to Noah. "Up!" she commanded as she reached under his arms and lifted. "Get up!" She grabbed Tameron's gear and hoisted it onto her back. Then she ran with Noah, her arm under his for support. They rounded a bend and saw that the corridor came to a sudden end at the end of the doorway. The scouts rushed through it, having no idea where it might lead. Chapter 43, The Secret Chamber of Lights. Noah concentrated on matching Ella's pace as they rushed down a winding glass tunnel surrounded by water filled with hundreds of blinking white lights. Flashlight fish, Noah realized, tiny animals that could emit spots of light. They were so many that it felt like the scouts had discovered a passage into a magical night sky. Noah had no doubt that they were in the Secret Zoo's version of the Clarksville Zoo's Chamber of Lights. "Faster!" Ella said to Noah. "You're slowing down!" As they neared a bend in the tunnel, Ella looked back and gasped, "He's coming!" Noah glanced over his shoulder to see DeGraff stepping into the tunnel. He was staggering a bit, still wiping the jellyfish from his face. The light from the flashlight fish made different parts of him pulse in and out of view. The folds of his jacket, the buckles in his boots, the sharp edge of his collar. Noah lost his balance and dropped to one knee. As Ella helped him up, hundreds of flashlight fish streaked across his version like sparklers being waved on the summer night. Then he ran forward again, still groggy. The scouts charged around another bend, and then another. Noah heard the thuds of DeGraff's black boots, and he knew it would only take seconds for him to overtake the scouts. The end of the corridor came into view, an open doorway into a dark space. Noah lost his balance, staggered in front of Ella, and then the two collided and tumbled to the floor. Noah forced himself up to his hands and knees, and he looked to see DeGraff less than 20 feet away. A blinding pulse of light forced his eyes closed. It was so powerful that Noah couldn't hide from it. His eyelids lit the same way the window shade does in the morning sun. "What's happening?" Ella screamed. A wail of pain canceled all other sound. DeGraff was standing above Noah, and something was wrong with him. Noah waited a few seconds and then peeled back one eyelid. When light blinded him, he closed it again. DeGraff continued to howl, and the floor shook as he staggered. Noah waited some more and then forced his eyes to open and stay that way. All he could see was a flat, dimensionless white. He realized DeGraff's painful wail was no longer coming from above him. It was coming from beside him. The world slowly came into focus. 3 feet over Noah's left, DeGraff was on his knees, his back hunched, his head down. His trench coat was draped over him, and the leathery mound of his body reminded Noah of a turtle tucked into its shell. The area around him was such a stark white that Noah couldn't see a suggestion of anything else. The winding tunnels, the fish, all of it was gone. DeGraff's scream subsided, then stopped altogether. As he huddled beneath his trench coat, Noah understood why. The shadowless world was hurting him. Noah rose to his knees and looked around. Ella was on her feet beside him, her eyes shut tight. "It's safe," Noah said. "It's okay to look." Ella slowly peered out. "What? Where are we? Did we portal?" She paused for a few seconds and then added, "Oh no, we've gone amiss." Noah shook his head. "How? We didn't go through a gateway." He reached up and touched something smooth and cold. Glass. "The wall," he said as he slid his hand along. "The tunnel. It's still here." But how?" Ella asked. "Where did—" "The flashlight fish," Noah interrupted. "They're causing this." Noah recalled when the flashlight fish had shined their magical light during a power outage at the Clarksville Zoo. He looked at DeGraff on the ground, his trench coat draped across his body, and realized the fish were still on the scout's side. "Let's go," Ella said. She pointed to the end of the corridor, where an open doorway stood, and then moved in beside Noah to support him again. "You okay?" Noah felt nauseated, but no longer dizzy. He gave a quick nod. Together, they headed up the bright corridor. "Just keep holding me," Ella said. "Don't let go." Noah glanced back. DeGraff had begun to crawl after them, his face tucked beneath a flap of his trench coat. The coat and hat, they protected him by keeping him in constant shadow, Noah realized. DeGraff's wardrobe kept him alive when he was in the light. "Hurry," Noah said. "He's coming." The two of them located the open doorway and escaped from the blinding light. And I'll stop the video there, but as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you next time, where we'll be getting closer to the conclusion of the Secret Zoo raids and rescues. As always, guys, please take good care of yourselves, and I hope to see you very soon.